Hey, thanks everyone for being on the call today. I'm in a taxi, so pardon the noise.
So, where are you coming in from there?
Excuse me, I'm on a call. Hey, guys, as I was saying...
Where are you from?
I'm from New York. I mean, yeah.
Oh, New York. I was there once.
All right, guys, listen, I think I'm going to have to...
That's an awesome city.
I think I'm going to have to reschedule this.
Are you here for business
I think
or
I'm going to
pleasure?
have to reschedule the call. I'll call you back.
Do you live, eat, and sleep the hotel industry? Looking to brush up on your game? You've come to the right place. Welcome to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast with your host, Glenn Hausman.
Hey, I'm Glenn Hausman, and you know me from the No Vacancy podcast, but I have got an all-new show coming, and I'm partnering up with the #1 guy in hospitality, Mr. Anthony Melchiori.
Now, it's called the yin and yang of hospitality.
That's right.
So I need to know going forward, because I'm a control freak, am I yin or yang?
I'm definitely the one that starts with Y, and you could be whichever one you want to be.
I'll be the one that starts with Y.
All right, so you're going to have more great banter just like this every single episode on the yin and yang of hospitality, found wherever your favorite podcasts are available. Any final thoughts?
Yes, I'm yang.
All right, I'm Ying. Thanks for listening.
Back to the show. It's No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast with your host, Glenn Hausman.
Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's No Vacancy podcast with me, your host, Glenn Hausman. I'm psyched to be here. I am in Southern California this week. Normally it's a sunny California, but it's overcast California today, which is annoying. I want my money back. I'm a little annoyed by the whole thing. I'm stoked to have I'm here. We had the California Lodging Investment Conference yesterday. You guys have heard the ads. I hope you were there. If you weren't there, suckers, too bad. You're going to get another one next year. But today we're having a post-show barbecue, and we're all hanging out. We decided, hey, let's put out this week's show and have a good time while doing it. Before I bring in the cohorts for today, I wanted to say that this show is brought to you in part by Duetto, the revenue strategy technology platform that thousands of hotels are using to make more money. I know you guys out there love making more money. I sure do. And to help me make more money, make sure you check out our show with CEO Patrick Bosworth on what you need to know about hotel revenue strategy. And find them and look at them at getrevenueresults.com. That's getrevenueresults.com. Bruce Ford is here. How are you, sir?
Gee!
I love that you're here. You're here in California with me and the founder, creator, mastermind behind the California Investment Conference. Mr. Craig Sullivan, how are you, sir?
I am great, and I am just so happy to have both of you out here at the same time. You know, we had a little bit of issue with weather and locales, but thank you for being here, and thank you for having me on the show, Glenn.
Well, it's always great to be here, and for you guys, if you're not getting our weekly newsletter, what are you thinking? Stop everything you're doing right now and text the word hotel to 66866. That'll get you our weekly newsletter, which you're going to love. And I can't wait because I got coming up a brand new podcast series that's going to be coming up, and stoked about it. You heard the ad at the beginning of the show with me and Anthony Melchiori from TV's Hotel Impossible. We're going to be the yin and yang of hospitality, focused on consumer trends in hospitality, and I'm going to be giving the behind-the-scenes kind of view on the hotel business for this show. Pretty stoked about that.
That's great.
Do you need a special room for that? I mean, with both of you guys in the room, the vision must be great.
Yeah, well, there's definitely a lot of energy in that room for sure. We're working on a machine right now to capture all that energy.
Do you ride a Peloton when you're on the podcast with Anthony? Or?
That's great. Well, I'm psyched to have you guys here. I mean, we're here at your abode, Craig, and if any of us sound a little bit out of it, it has nothing to do with the beer. It has to do with the barbecue, which was absolutely terrific. So thanks for setting that up.
Oh, thank you guys for being here. And the barbecue is a post-conference event that we have started. So it couldn't have happened without you guys. It was a great conference, and I'm glad you guys were both able to be here, and we can have some good food and a couple of adult beverages.
Yeah.
We certainly talked about a lot of stats about California yesterday and how good the hotel business is in California, Craig, and I think a lot of people enjoyed the state level quote association, getting together as owners, as management companies, as lenders, as consultants, and of course, what did we say yesterday? California is a $2.4 trillion economy,
exactly.
6th in the world.
Yep.
Driving so much business here in California, and it was really has worked out pretty well as a reason to really kind of put a conference together.
Right. One thing that hasn't worked out well, Bruce jumping head first into this. I thought we were going to warm everybody up, get everyone ready for stats and numbers, but the stat man, he cannot help himself.
I can't. Well, I'm looking at you, Glenn, and I got to keep the game moving. You know, I mean, you're going to lose motivation soon enough.
That's true. I am definitely going to lose motivation, but at least I don't sound as sad and desperate as I did when I recorded the show post London. That was just depressing all around.
I'll bet. Yeah. You'd been there for what, a week and traveling. Yeah. So that can be a little depressing.
All right, but I'm stoked. I'm excited. Yesterday was such a good day. Your second sellout in a row. It's crazy to me that you're still in a smaller place, but I know next year you're moving. It's going to be super terrific, and everyone's going to have to come. But I want to hear about what you thought about the day for your own conference, man. Congratulations.
Thank
what a great
you.
day that was.
Thank you. You know, I was a bundle of nerves prior to the conference, and certainly until we were done with the after party. A couple of reasons. I wanted to surpass expectations that we had set the year before, and I just didn't know. You do everything that you can, but you just don't know. I had faith in everybody that was on the panels, moderating the panels and all that, but you never know what the crowd reaction is going to be. We opened the doors, and you could feel a high-pitched energy, and it worked out really, really well. And, you know, Glenn, you know, you lead it off for everybody at my conference. I mean, you knocked it out of the park. You had a powerhouse panel talking about hotel investments and due diligence. And the due diligence was a little bit of a curve this year. It was to change that panel a little bit. You had a couple of different panelists that you didn't have a familiarity with, but that was part of the upside, and just kind of that, here, I'm walking the plank, and you know, we're gonna make this happen.
You know, I love going without a net. And when you say I wasn't familiar with a couple of panelists, I didn't really know them until we got them on stage.
Yeah.
Like, hey, who are you? What's your name again? I hope we have something to talk about that's not going to put this audience to sleep.
Glenn, you didn't do your due diligence?
All right, I appreciate the irony there of doing a due diligence panel without knowing the people. And
where are you going on Sunday again?
If I have to be honest with both of you guys, I didn't even know it was a due diligence panel until that morning. So
yeah, I heard you. Hotel investment and due diligence.
Yeah, I thought we were just going to be talking about great
investment.
Yeah, but whatever.
So you got a quick class.
Well, I just like
and he did really well. Yeah, he ad libs better than anybody I know. So, and I'm pretty good at ad libbing.
Yeah, better than anyone correct knows. He knows 3 people.
Yeah.
2 of them are his dog.
That's right. Yeah, 2 of them are McKenna. Absolutely.
Good stuff.
Bruce, tell us a little bit about what your impression is of the overall California market, how you're feeling about it. You brought a lot of information to the table, and what's amazing to me is just how powerful it seems to be, and almost a separate, universe unto itself from the rest of the United States.
Well, they have a significant portion of the new construction pipeline is in California. We're really seeing development across all chain scales, but we spoke about the significance of upscale and upper mid-scale, currently comprising about 60% of the pipeline rooms in California, which is a little bit lower than the national average. So it also leads us down the road of more resorts coming in California as we continue to see the hotel industry really booming. And we also talked a lot about San Francisco and the changing dynamics of that market with the Moscone Center being closed right now and kind of how that's all changed. So
that's the big convention center in that particular market. It's really changed the dynamics. Why did they close it? They need to just modernize it, bring it up to
a couple $100 million worth of renovation.
Yeah.
It's supposed to open at the end of this year. And it's always been seen as one of the top tech destinations, obviously, but it was actually getting surpassed by some cities like Boston, who had a better, more tech center because it was newer.
Right.
And the Moscone Center is certainly buried right in downtown San Francisco, so it was time.
What a big decision for them to make, to close the whole thing at once as opposed to like half and then the other half or something.
Yep.
Crazy idea to do that.
Well, San Francisco has been lucky in the hotel business in that they really haven't seen a lot of new supplies, really since 9/11.
Right.
That city went down pretty far when international travel really slowed. in 2001, and it was still suffering in 2008 when we had a banking crisis again. So it hasn't been a ton of new supply, but some people are telling me to build upscale product in downtown San Francisco, you're looking at $1 million a guest room, which also is not feasible.
Right. And I'm one of them saying it's $1 million a key to build a new hotel, and that number may not be fresh anymore.
Yeah, it might not be.
It may be a little creeping north of that number.
So we talked a lot about construction costs yesterday, and what does that mean in California? And I guess my takeaway on that is probably 20% premium to develop versus a lot of other locations. Easy. And if it isn't more than that. But again, also in California, labor shortages too.
Right.
We
Well,
talked about some
I want
projects
to talk about
moving slower because there's just not enough people.
This $1 million a key kind of a thing. If it's not affordable at $1 million a key, how can it keep going up?
It's California, and that's where a project that's more of a hotel enhanced mixed use development makes more sense, and you can bring that in line because now you've got retail, you've got restaurant, you've got condos, you've got offices. You can cut the building.
You
up
have
in
to
slices.
do other revenue streams within the building. We used to have a theory that whatever your development cost was per room in hundreds of thousands of dollars, you lopped the last three numbers off, and that's what you had to charge per night.
Per night, yeah, exactly.
In a 55% occupancy environment to make money.
Yeah.
When you're in an urban center today, obviously the other revenue streams you have and leases that you put into the property. But also in addition to that, you can charge higher rates. Like we were talking about a select service hotel in an urban center like San Francisco. They may be New York rates, if not even more.
Right.
Okay, so you pay $350 plus, tip, tax, and deposit in New York, which is 22%. It was very feasible that could be the rate there in San Francisco.
And in some cases, it's even more. There's a Holiday Inn Express right off of Union Square.
Yeah.
And when I was up there a couple of months ago, they were $500 a night.
Woo.
For a Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah.
Okay, now, I know if I stay at a Holiday Inn Express, I want to know that I can fly a jet and do a whole lot more brain surgery and a few other things at those rates. So.
And you can. I mean, they tell you can. So you absolutely will be able to do those things. So overall, much better than spending money on a college education. Just
exactly.
$500 for one night.
So we talked about San Francisco having new supply coming, but really opening after the Moscone Center. And one of the other topics that I brought to the table with the LE stats is that the pipeline is filling up, and you will be seeing new supply coming wherever it is that you're operating.
Absolutely.
And to be ready for it, to be thinking about the renovation as the market turns here, because we do eventually have to go down. We don't want to talk about going down, but the industry has seen an unprecedented run on operating performance improvement, and that has to turn or soften a little bit sooner or later.
Yeah.
We're not here to predict a recession, but we are here to say that 4 or 5% RevPAR growth annually over the past 7 years is eventually not going to be 4 or 5%.
Yes, but 2% is the same revenue increase.
That's the milk that I had. 2% milk.
4, 5, 6 years ago. So to me, I never understood why people get all depressed when they see these numbers going down, when mathematically speaking, you're looking at increases for 9 years in a row now. You can't mathematically sustain that without people paying $1,000 a room at that.
Well, let's talk about the news that was out there today, Glenn. People charging, these destination fees now.
Yes. As we're recording this, I still want to talk about the California Lodging Investment Company. So maybe we'll
it's going to come to California next.
It's already here.
It's
already here. We got resort fees. We've got urban destination fees. It's here already.
Yeah.
All right. So for you folks listening, I do not like these fees. I'm not a fan of these fees. I don't think they do the hotel operators any favor because nothing positive comes out of it.
You're right.
Yes, you can absolutely say we're bundling in all of these services, which your guests probably don't feel like they should have been paying for anyway. And don't tell me that I want to, have everything bundled together to save money when I don't need 9 out of the 10 things you're offering in the bundle. So I don't get it. I don't understand it. All right, I get it. You all want to make more money, and I'm cool with that. But I just think you need to do it honestly and put it within the room rate itself.
I agree. I was opposed to this, in the beginning of the last cycle when all of a sudden the stuff started creeping in. It just isn't right, okay? We're in the hospitality business. We're not in the gouging business. I do feel that, yeah, you should try and monetize every part of your hotel humanly possible. But make that the decision of the guest. If I'm going to the bar, if I'm going here and I have to pay for something, great. Don't hit me up with a resort fee and charge me for using a fitness center that I'm never going to step foot in, or a spa area, or charge me for towels at the
So
pool.
here's what it
Sorry.
does. It essentially raises the expectation.
It does.
Because all of the releases that went out from the major hotel companies, their position was, well, we're expanding the services. We're continuing to improve the basic offerings that we have in a hotel. And one of the big challenges that we all know is consistent Wi-Fi, that where you can actually stream,
Right.
okay, and you're not in an overloaded system. But also the quality of the television cable signal that's coming into the hotel and the quality of the device you're using to display that. We all know that's one of the next big upgrades in the hotel business.
Yeah, that's
and
all-
it's
that's
expensive.
all. Yeah, it's sure.
Yeah.
It is. It's fair. But your customers don't care. Nothing personal. They don't care. Because
Well,
their
I'm moving in a
expectations
way-
are ready to happen.
So I'm moving in a way where I'm going to want to stream on my phone and broadcast that on that TV in my room.
Right. Yeah.
And the owner is looking at, a couple $1,000s a room to really make that work. But if they'll be able to collect a $20 fee per room night to be able to build the fund to be able to do that, I could see it. Okay? Because the tech experience, particularly in the higher end of the market, sucks.
Yeah.
Well, the tech experience does suck, but you've also got to, you look at Red Roof and introducing Alexa. Okay, you look at, I was involved with a project up in Menlo Park, boutique hotel, 61 keys. It's coming online in June of this year. Okay, we're right in the middle of Silicon Valley. Okay, I'm 5 minutes from Stanford.
Yeah.
Okay,
Your tech
So-
expectation is real high right there.
But you got to know when to say when too, and dial things back. I've got people coming over from Google and a few other places to stay there, and it's like, you know what? I would like to have a retreat. I don't want to have all of this. It's nice that you, instead of having to go to a front desk or a pod, you've got people meeting me at the door, or you're giving me an option to go to a kiosk where I can check myself in. But there's sometimes when I just want to be left alone. Mm-hmm. Every room's dialed in. You can set the lighting, set the temperature, you can set the water temperature. You could order room service and everything else right off your phone or an iPod device and make your dinner reservations in the hotel.
I think for every 3 of those people, there's the next generation. I just think the luxury upper upscale hotels are so challenged to continue to be able to offer enough services to keep their rates above the Courtyard rate.
Right.
And that's one of the things they're going to have to change. The tech experience has got to change. It's got to be upgraded. Got to work more. Got to work better.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The tech experience does have to work better, but again, it comes back to the point: the customer does not care. So while each and every one of us can sympathize with what the hoteliers are thinking, it just comes off negative to the guests. That's why these destination fees, these resort fees annoy me. And now, you're seeing in Las Vegas, some of these resort fees can be more expensive than the freaking room costs for the night, which is insane and absurd.
Yeah, and the parking charges and a few others, and that's ridiculous. There's no way we should be putting up with this. None. Okay. You want to charge me a decent rate for the room? Great. You want to comp it for me because I've dropped $10,000 in the casino? Great. But don't nickel and dime me. I don't want the stupid resort fee. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be charged an additional entrance fee for going to the spa or a handling fee for tickets. I don't want to be charged for parking.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it's really, really a bad idea in that city.
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, we were talking to someone just last night who lives in Las Vegas and won't go to the Strip anymore because he can't stand having to pay for the parking.
Betcha.
Think about the revenue that's being lost for the restaurants that are within the resort casinos and all the other ancillary revenue that they could possibly be getting. I just don't think the people making these decisions are understanding what the potential long-term ramifications can be. Vegas ain't a bargain anymore. People are going to start to go, I think, to other places when all these fees start to add up, and they realize it's just way too expensive a vacation experience, and then you have to pay $18 a cocktail.
Yeah, and you've got to fly over in what I refer to as Greyhound of the skies.
Right.
Okay. Southwest Air, and that's always a cattle call.
Well,
And the last time we were in Vegas together, Glenn, we went off the Strip for a few meals, and we enjoyed was almost jaw-dropping price differential.
Right.
Okay, just a mile or two off the Strip. So if you were willing to do it, I've always been amazed with how fast food and beverage prices have gone up in Las Vegas.
Yes, yeah.
I spend every year at least a week at the Mandalay Bay as a result of hospitality industry commitments.
Yep.
And you can't sit down for dinner for under $50 in that place. I mean, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me.
Yeah, well, I like to go to the noodle shop a lot.
Yeah.
It's a little bit cheaper. It fills me up. Gives me some extra room for the cocktails later
What's
on.
the other place? The Broken Egg or the Broken Yolk? Broken Yolk.
Yolk?
Yeah.
The one place you can go is up in the Mandalay Place. The Irish pub isn't too bad up there.
There you go.
They have Ariras up there. So
That's good. All right, so I don't know how we wound up in Las Vegas when we're here in California. I'm supposed to be talking about California.
it's the
hospitality.
weekend, Glenn. California people go to Las Vegas on the weekend. It's Friday.
Most of us do. I
Come
don't.
on.
I'm staying home. I've got Vegas coming to me, okay? I've got New York, I've got Boston, and a few others all coming to me.
So we heard one of the great things we heard at the conference yesterday was so much discussion about financing and terms and opportunity for construction loan versus purchase,
Yep.
conversion, renovation. It was enlightening to hear how much money is really available out there to do projects and to buy hotels.
Yeah, there is, and that's part of what this conference is about. We brought a variety of lenders, some that are well known. East West Bank being one of them for being a big hotel lender in this state and various other states. We brought a hard money guy. He closed 3 deals while everybody was on the panel complaining about paperwork. Okay,
He's
got a good rate.
I just have a little application over here. If you fill that out, we can take care of this for
Exactly.
you.
And we got Tim Edgar, from Hotel Investor and a crowdfunding platform for hospitality. There's a lot of avenues out there where you can get good financing for your hotel project. And that's part of the California Lodging Investment Conference.
Yeah,
it's the investment, it's lending.
So then, if we're talking about California lodging investment, Craig, what markets are you seeing that you're most excited about? And in your other life with Park West, you're doing a lot of renovations. Maybe what areas are heating up in that way as well?
We're doing a lot of renovations right now. Oakland to San Diego. Last year it was Seattle to San Diego and Arizona. We're focused a lot more in this state. We're in the Central Coast. We're up in the Bay Area, Los Angeles, Orange County, San Diego. So we've got our crews spread out there. And
That's where all the supplies going.
absolutely. All the new supplies coming there, so everybody's got to get shiny and new again.
Yep.
And they're taking those new supply challenges very seriously. They know they're coming. So.
Yeah. So we had 40 new brands in the past 2 years, Glenn, as I said on stage yesterday.
Yeah, 40 new brands in the past years is incredibly outrageous. I don't see how you could really cut through all the clutter to get the attention of the consumer, unless, of course, you're a very highly niche type of a brand that's got a subset that you're looking
Well, definitely a few brands into the mid-scale, too. So we're interested to see how those construction costs come out on things like True and Avid out here in California.
It's funny. Last year, I priced out a True prototype, 98 keys, at-grade construction, excluding land acquisition, entitlement costs, and FF&E. And I was at $8 million just to build the hotel. So
Crazy.
now you start throwing in the FF&E, you start throwing in the entitlement costs, the dirt costs. And
You're
goes
12.
up from there. Yeah.
You're up to 12.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy in this state.
Yeah.
Now, if it's coastal, it'll be even higher.
Yeah.
Okay, but are you going to build a True in the coastal region?
Well, you don't think you will at all? Because with the smaller footprint for brands like True and Avid, or a Glow or a Vibe, or something of that nature, the idea is to have that same parcel of land, use a half acre, 3/4 of an acre less, and still be able to maximize room count for higher profitability, theoretically.
I think you can, but it's also going to be defined by the city. Is it going to happen in Newport Beach?
Right,
No.
right.
Is it going to happen in Huntington Beach? Probably not. Could it happen in Long Beach? Yes. And you're right at the cusp of the number for the city of Long Beach where they want their hotels unionized. They want it at 100 keys. Now, are they going to not enforce that at 98, or is it close enough where the city's going to go, oh, no, you got to be unionized, so now there's going to be something else. And I'm not bagging on unions or anything else. But those are just part of it. And the closer to the coast you are, you've got the Coastal Commission here. You know, you could, if you don't do your due diligence going into a coastal area, and if you don't have a public affairs group that is really off the radar to come in and take the temperature of the area and see who is going to support this project and who isn't. You know, you look at coastal resorts here. You look at Bacara. You look at Terranea. You look at the Montage. Those three projects all came out of the ground at different points in time, and they all took 20 years.
Yep.
So, you know, coastal's different, difficult.
And it seemed beyond the coast, it seemed one of the themes that I was seeing, especially on the panel that I hosted, was that it takes forever to get a project approved. Like, if you start now, it's like maybe my grandkids will be able to start building it.
Right.
And
I've got a grandkid, okay? So, you know, I'm getting old.
And there was a profile that one of you guys had about was it the Bacara? And how it sold twice through development and sold 3 times since it's opened. And the price keeps going up. The price keeps going up at mega rates. It was $2 million a room that it last sold at? Is that what you said?
Yeah, last was $2 million. And, you know, you look at the Bacara and you look at its history. Okay, 20 years in development, then massive fight with the golf course next door, that they were supposed to have a reciprocal agreement with for their guests to go over and play golf, and not the best location. It was great for NBC to have production meetings and the top executives fly out from New York and L.A. and decide what was going to be on TV Monday through Sunday. Okay? And after that, it was like, not the best thing in the world. You know, it's like, So, you know, I'd much rather go to Terranea. You've been there,
Terranea is a great property.
You've been there too, haven't you, Bruce?
Yeah, Bruce and I have been there together.
Multiple times.
And still stands.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
So, I think one of the other trends we talked a lot about,
Wait, I got one question before we move on to another trend. I want to ask you about this extension of how long it takes properties that get built. How does that affect the way that you look at the pipeline for the state of California when coming up with your facts and figures?
Great question.
Well, California had a higher percentage of early planning projects than not any other state, but certainly in the top 5 in terms of percentage of early planning. And I think from a construction start standpoint, everything takes more than 12 months to get going here.
Right.
And it probably has one of the longer run times of projects ramp up. But I think at the same time, the small percentage is truly coastal, and the majority is really not. So you can get approved a little faster. Yeah. Because the highways and byways of California are getting select service hotels, more exits and more exits and more exits all the time.
It is. In this cycle, we've had more select service in the pipeline than any other time.
Palm Springs, Riverside, San Bernardino, the pipeline's huge. Rancho Cucamonga, there's 10 hotels under construction. I mean, it's
that's nuts.
Yeah, that's totally nuts. I still remember the first Aloft that ever went in there,
right?
And I looked at that town name and said, "I'm not from California. I live in New Hampshire." Yeah. And Rancho Cucamonga. Where the heck is that?
Best name ever for a city. I think that was one of Dave Letterman's home offices.
The first Aloft, I think, the first Aloft actually opened in Rancho Cucamonga, if I recall it correctly.
You are absolutely correct. And they did a tour. If you were at the Alice conference, they brought you out there.
Right, by bus.
Yeah.
By bus. And it was a 90-minute drive without any traffic.
Yeah, that's why I have not yet seen the Rancho Cucamonga.
That's how busy I am in the numbers all the time. And showing the texture right there, I guess.
Yeah.
But
right.
I think the other thing that ready to move on to another trend.
Now let's hear that next topic you wanted to talk about, Brucey.
So the other trend is the selling price per room on hotels and really kind of the transaction values. Talked a lot about transactions. Yeah. And in many cases, we were talking about prices and the variance between land-owned and land-leased.
Yeah.
And how that affected it. And I heard the land lease scenario is not completely uncommon in the hotel industry. It's a little more common out here in California. It seemed to be general rule was 20% valuation was affected by a land lease or a land owned. Is roughly where we were. And Rich Carlson from IHG was one of the presenters, and he said that the new Avid footprint is a half an acre less than the same size Holiday Inn Express footprint.
Wasn't that
was interesting?
Yeah, that was mind blowing.
Again, that's
at grade,
the rooms are smaller than the other brands' rooms. Everyone is banking on that the customer doesn't mind having a smaller room for a better lobby experience, and it's cheaper on a per room basis to construct.
Yeah. So all of those aspects, as we continue to challenge modern design in hotels and continue to challenge mid-scale as a chain scale, it's going to keep growing. So we'll probably. I predicted. I think I said on stage yesterday. I thought the pipeline for mid-scale would be twice as big next year at this time as it is right now.
I think you're right. Yeah, the economics alone make that a lot more viable. Yeah, Okay, how do you guys feel about a smaller room? They're not building them for us.
No, they're not building them for me.
No, I like the thing I like about the rooms is you're always going to. As long as everything has a place.
Right.
Okay.
Efficiency.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'm always a guy that's got a larger suitcase and my roller bag, and sometimes I have two suitcases, and I got to hang up suits.
Right.
Because I got a room for all of that. And I tested that when I was out at the Avid room design they had at Alice at the top of the Indigo.
Right.
And experiencing that, I felt like I could fit in there, but it didn't seem like I would want to.
Right. So I've kind of have a come to Jesus moment, or I guess in my case, come to Moses moment about smaller.
The Messiah had a come to Moses moment.
Smaller hotel rooms in general. I think we need to get away from the idea that the square footage of the room matters. It's about how it's laid out, going to his conveniences, and everything has its place point. If it's ingeniously constructed and put together, and you don't feel as if you're missing out on anything, then I think it's not a problem. Takes me back to my love for that room that I saw at the Zoku Amsterdam that I thought was just so cleverly designed. I felt like I had room for my big wardrobe suitcase that opens up and couldn't fit on a regular rack. I had a table to work on. I had a big couch. I had a bed loft, and the bathrooms are stowed under the bed. Everything just worked out so well that it felt spacious, but it's smaller than the average American-sized hotel room by a big margin.
Yep. And I think that one of the things about Avid is the tech. Okay, the streaming capability, the Wi-Fi is better. The TV is 46.
Yeah,
and you got a 250 square foot room, and you got a 46-inch TV in there. That will challenge the luxury and upscale hotels to improve the tech.
Hey, you watch Patriots game and enjoy it.
You betcha. But
they don't want you watching it in the room. They want you
they
down
want you
in the lobby.
Well, they don't have a bar down there, as Glenn, so that's the problem.
What do you guys think of the social lobby? I mean, I enjoy it a lot.
I think it's terrific.
I think what Hyatt started with Hyatt Place, and all of a sudden Marriott took it seriously and added the bistro and everything else, and all these incarnations subsequently. I think it's great for our industry.
The social lobby brings people out of the room, and it helps engage them with other potential revenues that they can have, that you can spend in the hotel. And as the grab and go market in the lobby area of those hotels continues to expand and its offerings and everything, that's going to promote more space being dedicated. But again, it's about a good layout. Do I have a charger? Can I feel like I can make a phone call when I'm down there? Do I have enough privacy, but yet...
Well, that's why I think that you're seeing the lobby designs have different zones within them. A place that I can be, we could all be alone together, or places where I can interact with people in a more interactive, meaningful sort of a way, or even just that big communal table that everybody was into.
I love that all alone together. Yeah, I'm not going to talk to the person next to me, but I'm going to send them a text.
Yes,
okay?
Right. That's how I pretend to be a millennial.
Are you alluding to millennials again, Craig?
I got to tell you, I love millennials. I really do. I think that generation is going to save us.
Yeah, I don't think it's the millennials. I think it's society. Everybody seems to have their heads down in the phones the entire
it's everybody.
time. I'm not even sure that we have to worry about designing a hotel room anymore. As long as it looks pretty in the phone, they're not going to notice anything else.
They can all go to Walmart.
That's kind of what I'm worried about. Yeah.
So also I think the other thing I noted on the design of the mid-scale room that I'm okay with the smaller room is the bathrooms. The amenities you can put in the bathroom have got to keep going better. And I think the stand-up shower has been somewhat of a revolution again in the business, and the fact that the business travel and the select service rooms have the stand-up shower, that creates more space.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Right, or at least the feeling of more space if you don't have actual more square footage. And we all know how important that bathroom experience is. And I love that they understand now, designers get it, that the lighting has to be really terrific in the bathroom, especially for when women apply makeup or, And the showers, like you said, was absolutely terrific. And what do you think about in-shower amenities that are in the larger bottles as opposed to the little tiny bottles that you pump them yourself?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. You know what I want in the shower? I want water pressure.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Absolutely right.
I want room and I want water pressure. If I don't get a good night's sleep, because granted, most of the mattresses are really good. Okay, I've got hotel bedding in my house here. And I won't mention the company because they're not a sponsor, but we'll work on that for you, Glenn.
Yeah, if you guys want to advertise, we will tell you.
Yeah, we will tell you who it is. But I got to tell you, the conference hotel we were at, they did a great job for the conference. Pillows are absolutely horrible in that room that I stayed in for the past 2 nights. Yeah. And, I want a good night's sleep. And if I don't get a good night's sleep and I get up in the morning and the shower is got no water pressure, I'm not coming back. I am so upset, and I'm cleaning my language up.
We need that PG rating.
But that's the last thing I'm going to do in the room. Okay, I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to get dressed. I'm out. I grab my bag, and I'm ready for my day. And if that didn't go well, and prior to that, I didn't get a good night's sleep because I got a horrible mattress or a horrible pillow, those are the two things that there's no excuse for not getting right.
You got that right. I cannot stand having a crappy pillow.
Yeah.
One of those giant hard foam pillows. I know you guys got them on the cheap, but your customers hate
them.
for
hate
it.
them.
So when you think you're saving some money, you're saving a few bucks here and there. But what is the actual cost?
Right.
And that's one of the things. And I think that takes us into I think that takes us into a bigger issue when it comes to these resort fees. It comes into the bad pillows or some of the bad amenities.
Okay, I'll pay a pillow fee.
Right. But I'm thinking, we understand how much we make, but we don't understand as a business how much we're not making because of the mistakes that we put in to our thinking ahead of time.
Agreed.
So we're at the top of the market, we're doing fantastic, but if you really take an evaluation and think about how you've spent your money and whether or not customers are really enjoying those experiences or aren't hating you for certain experiences, then how much could you have absolutely made?
I would tell you that I've been getting more questions when I check out our hotels about, well, how was your experience? What did you think of this? What did you think of that? I would say I definitely had 2 instances while on this trip, and I think I stayed in 5 different hotels or something like that. Mm-hmm. But 2 instances where I'm commonly go down to the desk and I say, okay, here's what I didn't like in the room, or here's what I didn't think was good or right. So one of the hotels I was at this week had 2
Please
things.
Don't say the conference hotel. Please don't say the conference hotel.
2 things left in the fridge from the previous guest. 2 things left in the fridge from the previous guest.
Oh, my God.
And then the hotel room, the door would not self-close. You had to actually physically close it, like really pull on it or push on it. They took all my food and beverage off my bill.
That's amazing. They took all your food and beverage off
and
the
they
bill.
gave me 2,000 extra points.
Wow.
Okay.
I thought it was well resolved at the desk.
Yeah.
And this is obviously...
That's a great front desk person. Yeah.
The feedback, I think if feedback is important in the hotel industry, I take it seriously. I also want to keep trying all the brands. As I told you, I tried 47 brands last year. And I hope I'll break it this year. But I think
Well, unless it's going to break you. That's a whole lot of thought.
Yeah, that's
For sure.
Tell you, I'm not complaining anymore about my travel. You guys, are truly are bigger road warriors than I am.
Yes.
I'm beyond that. I want to stay in California.
Right.
So.
Well, we're gonna have to call.
I would stay here if I could have this cushy house.
You and
This
Glenn
is
are
fine.
always
Well,
welcome
Bruce
to
the
stay
Machine
here.
Ford over here is unbelievable. He's on his 14th day on the road right now. 2 continents, something like 4 different cities. Absolutely unbelievable.
I'm done though.
Going home for a while.
I'm done. A little while.
Till
Of course,
Ahoa.
yeah, until the next podcast with Mr. Glenn
Yes,
Houseman.
which we're going to do at Ahoa. And speaking of Ahoa, I can't wait to be there because we're going to be telling great stories of the American dream while at Ahoa. I'm going to have a lot of Ahoa people coming in, some of the people that are visiting the conference to share what their stories are,
Absolutely.
what they think of the opportunities that they've had, what they think of the hotel business, what they think about the future of hospitality. That's all there, and we're going to be interviewing so many great people. I can't even tell you the names of all of them right now, just in case they realize how silly it is to be interviewed by me and run away. And, but go look, if you're at Ahoa, come look for the big plexiglass booth outside the general sessions. It's got the big red roof on it. Thank you, Red Roof, for sponsoring that. That's going to be super.
So we're gonna have
cool.
we're gonna have team no vacancy jerseys or something like that.
I like that. I want one of those.
I do too.
Glenn's got my California
my
Lodging
California-
Investment Conference T-shirt on. Hey, you should have Durain Lalani on.
Who?
From Westmont, Durain Lalani. They're one of the principals in Red Roof.
Right.
She is an absolute dream, and if I could pick a sister, it would be her.
Right.
She is just
awesome.
amazing.
Well, I will be having President Andy Alexander.
Nice.
So I'm excited about that. Next week, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be attending a social media influencer event sponsored by Porcelanosa, a really great company. That's going to be in Valencia, Spain, and Madrid, Spain. And if I survive that trip, then I will be at where am I going to be after that? Hunter Hotels Investment Conference.
There you
That's
go.
going to be super terrific. Then we're going to have a Ahoa. Then I'm home for a hot minute. Then I've got another couple of weeks of travel after that.
Can I carry your bags to Spain? I haven't been to Spain
Could you
in a
go?
while.
Could you go
I'll
instead
go.
of me on all of these trips?
Well, only to Spain, but I will probably meet you and Bruce in D.C. for a hoe. I'm trying to clear the deck so I can be there with you guys.
Excellent.
Well, that would be great.
Yeah. So I did want to talk about another topic, and
Okay.
I don't remember at all what that topic was right about now, but I have another one that I've been wanting to talk about. And this is it's kind of interesting, a little bit serious to me. We're in a world now where younger people in particular, love those millennials, expect more out of the companies that they deal with. And I don't mean more amenities, more services, more freebies. I mean more when it comes to being ethical. I mean when it comes to doing the right thing.
I agree.
And I think younger people, much more so than older folks, just a generational thing, it has nothing to do with individual character, will only do business with companies that they feel match their ethical positions, right? So the issue that I want to bring up here today is I don't want to talk about politics, what you believe, pro or nay
Right.
on certain things, but I do think it's difficult for companies to maneuver through this new minefield of politics that they're being faced with. We had the fallout from the NRA in the last couple of weeks after the horrible shooting in Parkland, where Wyndham Hotels backed out of the NRA program as well, and also backed out of the program was Delta Airlines, which was subsequently punished
yeah.
by the state of Georgia. So how do you feel that public companies, private companies, all within the hospitality sector, how can they find a clear path through this very difficult time to be not political, but also do the right thing?
Well, I think it's always about doing the right thing. You're going to end up being political, and Best Western was another one.
Best Western actually got scooped up into it. They actually ended the relationship in 2014, and they have not gotten fair and adequate press on that. So it's a little bit. It's a little bit
confusing.
Yeah.
I agree, but you know what? If there's anything positive to come out of a tragedy like this, okay, it's been 18 years since Columbine.
Wow,
Okay.
been that long.
the NRA is the American Taliban. I'm sorry.
Did I say no? But did I just say no political statement?
You did, but I had to go there. I'm sorry. You can edit that out.
T-minus 2 seconds. Craig Sullivan is going to break the rules.
I try not to, but I do think that millennials have got a backbone. And I think they're going to look at what's being done right, what's being done wrong. I think they get bad-mouthed a lot. I think the latter half of the millennial generation has learned the lessons from the first half of the millennial generation that, went and spent all this money and went to school and got degrees, and we had a financial collapse, that was almost as bad as the Great Depression.
Right.
And I can't get out of my parents' house. I've got all these huge bills from college. I can't get a job. I mean, the only job I can get is
and the
maybe
one
at
thing
a
that I
liquor
have
store.
is my social network voice.
There you go.
That's what I have.
Yeah.
And the voice, they can
That's
bang the
perfect,
drums so loud, okay, and they can get a groundswell so loud, okay.
And they're voters.
My dad always taught me one thing. He says that you just have to temper sometimes a knee-jerk reaction to some things, okay? And you look at the way gun violence in school is obviously a very big problem, okay? But, let's go backwards and talk about the root of the problem. I saw a guy do a video about the fact that he could buy a gun in Iowa.
All right,
an AR-15.
This has nothing to do with the topic. The topic is not whether or not you love
I'm the
your
only
guns.
one that didn't go off base.
This is why
I like when Glenn pops that vein in the top of his head.
I am not registered to a political party. Okay?
All right,
Neither am I.
I'm very...
social ethics is important.
Right.
The social media
that's right.
aspects of it is important.
Right.
Everybody has the voice.
So...
You have to ask. I mean, what is important to your team members? It should be part of the regular HR process inside of any company.
Let's look at it.
Continuing to
Oh,
survey
no, I
it.
can't talk about HR because I'm going to talk about how they're all bathroom monitors. Oh, did I say that?
Oh, God. All right.
I'm sorry. HR personnel do serve a function. They really do.
Yep.
I apologize for that.
No, that's not. This is not what I want to talk about at all. You guys have been enjoying too much barbecuing and too much beer. I want to know how you think hotel travel companies can maneuver their way through a political minefield to be seen as doing the right thing and having ethics without getting caught up in political issues like you're bringing them into.
They will
now.
always get caught up, no matter what they do. It's unfortunate.
One
but
thing
it's
or
just
another.
part of society. They're going to get caught up in it. And we just got caught up in it, and you gave us specific instructions
Right.
not to, okay?
Yeah.
And we got caught up in it. That's just part of it. Sometimes...
Society on blast,
Right.
it seems like.
Politically correctness, being rude, but being polite, are all different things. And, sometimes the being politically correct has just gone overboard.
Agreed.
I lost my filter when I stopped working for a publicly held corporation. Okay?
Yeah.
And you've been around me. There's all kinds of weirdness that comes out of my mouth.
I know. I recommend you getting a job at a public corporation.
I'll get that filter back. I just don't think you can get away from it. I think if you try and sanitize a corporation, I think you come off as a phony. If you come off and go, like with Delta,
Be authentic.
be authentic.
Yep.
We're our core values are not for sale.
Yep. I really loved that he said that. And it was interesting to me how they got caught up in it by trying to remove politics from it. They said
Right.
they didn't want to be political and that the NRA was a supercharged political organization, that they didn't want to get stung by it, but by removing themselves from it, the act of removing themselves from it actually caused the damage that they were hoping not to suffer, but by being associated with them.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting trap that you could get into, but I do applaud Delta for taking a position that they felt was ethical. Whether or not you agree with it, at least they felt it was ethical and the right thing for them to do as a company.
I agree. I applaud them for that. I wish other companies would show a backbone towards that direction and go, no, we're not going to be dictated to.
Right.
This is wrong, and we're done.
So, Ed Bastian, CEO of Delta, if you're listening, I think you did a great job taking a chance. But come on, what are you doing to us and making it harder for me to achieve diamond status every year? You're killing me. You're killing me over here. I cannot stand the lack of upgrades that I'm getting. I've got a whole host of first world problems here, Ed. Come on, help me.
Thought
out.
we weren't going
Please
to make
help
this
him out.
political.
Help Glenn out. I'm the political one, not Glenn.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So, all right. Any final thoughts before we wrap up this fun fest here?
No, I'm just
Platinum.
going. I'm going home to a bunch of snow, but I'm ready to go home. Great to be with you guys
Excellent.
in Cali.
It's great to have you guys here.
And I want to thank Greg Sullivan so much for being here. The California Lodging Investment Conference. You heard the ads here for the last few weeks. I've been saying, sorry guys, you can't come, but you can again next year, March 8th, 2019.
Probably the 7th.
Probably the 7th.
But right around there, yeah. So
All right.
we've got to lock down the date. We've got to lock down a new location. We've grown out of the conference hotel that's held us for the past 2 years. And we'll make our first announcements about that on No Vacancy.
Excellent. I appreciate you giving the exclusive. Now, if I were you, I might save it for your own radio show, which you
get it first, then it goes to my radio show.
Which is Check Out California. Make sure you check those guys out. And if I can get Rad Gontos to Dropbox me the other files, they will be on the No Vacancy feed for all of you to listen to and enjoy those shows as well. Bruce Ford is threatening to start his own show sometime in 2018.
Nice.
So be on the lookout for that. But Bruce and I will next be together at AHOA. And since I got that podcasting booth, we're going to have a 3-camera video shoot on it. So if you want to see us,
love it.
You want to see us in full color.
HD.
HD.
I got to go
color,
shopping.
We're going to be doing that. Yeah.
I got to go shopping.
Right, I got to put on something, a little classier than I'm wearing now. Not to say that your shirt's not classy. Oops. All right, and I tried to avoid being political this whole show. I screwed it up. I think it's time for me to end this thing. Go get another beer and have a great Friday afternoon. I hope you guys had a great time listening to a show. I know that we had a great time doing this for you.
We did. Thank you, Glenn.
And I will be in Spain next week, but I've already got a show queued up. Maybe I'll even do some interviews while I'm there. In the meantime, I'll be back next week. That is, unless I decide just to party here with Craig Sullivan for the rest of my life.
You're always welcome here.
Oh, man, we are in Newport Beach. What a great place this is. I'm not sure I'm ever coming back. All right, I'm teasing. I'll see you all next week. Thanks for listening.
Thanks so much for listening to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman, online at rouse.media, on Twitter at Traveling Glenn, and on Facebook.com/Glenn.Hausman. We'll catch you next time.